All right, just starting the recording. Okay, let's get to it. So as I've been doing all year, thought of the week, and I know I sound like a broken record sometimes, but I just know this to be the absolute truth. The only thing that probably matters to growing your business is the routine you give yourself as an independent agent. I am a hardcore believer of this since I've done what all of you are trying to do. Some of you already successfully moving the needle forward, but those that kind of hit some highs and lows, just getting into a daily routine and doing a little bit of work every day is really the trick of this business. Success doesn't come from what you do occasionally, it comes from what you do consistently. I know wholeheartedly this to be true, so I harp on it a lot. Routine is definitely the foundation of growth. Routine builds consistency in your client outreach and follow up. Routine creates structure in a flexible, often unpredictable schedule when you're working from home. A lot of you have a lot of hats to juggle. Stay-at-home moms, bringing your kids to school. Maybe you're juggling two jobs as you're getting this business off the ground. But being consistent with your routine is what's going to move, keep you moving each and every week. Routine helps you form productive habits around prospecting and service. Routine reduces decision fatigue and improves time management. I know when I started, I often was doing too many things and doing none of them well. So picking your game plan, getting your needed tasks on the calendar or in your CRM is definitely what you want to do. Routine increases accountability and long-term focus. So all these things start to add up, and routines that lead to results. Small repeated actions lead to major business growth. Again, I'm a huge believer in this. If you're not doing a little bit every day, this thing's never going to get off the ground. You got to grind out 1 to 2 years of hard work. Once you do that, your business should start flourishing. If you've already been in this business a couple of years and you feel like you're starting over, look back and see what you've been doing every day and maybe make some changes, hold yourself a little bit more accountable. What are some daily things and weekly things that drive business? I believe wholeheartedly, again, you have to be married to your CRM. Your dashboard should be full of prospecting calls, to do tasks, meeting carrier reps, meeting provider reps, going out in community marketing. It should be growing. Your prospect list, if you're starting from scratch, will be zero. But if you do a little bit every day, by the end of the first month, you should have lots of people to call, warm, hot, and cold leads. Post daily on social media. The one thing we know that works is social media. So you should be giving that a lot of attention. If you don't know anything about it, dive in now. It's not rocket science. It just takes some effort. Fill your calendar with productive prospecting assignments. What does that look like? Well, what are your three pillars of growth going to be? What are your game plans? We talk about this a lot, but that has to be on your calendar, and you have to be attacking it daily, weekly. You should be networking. What does networking look like? Can you pop into the Chamber of Commerce? Can you join a BNI meeting group? Can you, call the provider reps, the carrier reps, your friends, your family, having coffee with business associates, looking for referral partners. This should be something that you're doing constantly. This is really one of the most important things you can do to grow your business. Networking brings referrals. Referrals make your grinding a lot less difficult. So, incorporate this and make sure it's scheduled. When you have nothing to do, and I know there's holes on your calendar, keep perfecting your craft. Do you know what you're selling? Have you dived into all the carrier books? Are you, perfecting your emails when they go out to clients? Are you tinkering with your marketing? I can help you with that, but what's your messaging? Your systems, are you very intimate with your CRM? Do you know what you're going to do when you get a lead? How you're going to follow up? After you make a sale, how are you going to communicate the needed, your needed points that you need to tell your customer, how you're going to service them, what they need to know about the plan they just purchased, things like that. And then every week, if you're doing this right, spend a half hour, almost like meditation, thinking about what you did, think about what's working, think about what's not working, and adjust. All right. So again, I harp on that a lot just because I know it's a difference maker. I know there's some successful people on this call, and I know the difference between you making a six-figure income and struggling is really just the routine of it all. Your competition are not rocket scientists. You're smart individuals, and it's just about holding yourself accountable. That's why I do this meeting every Monday, hopefully to get us thinking about our businesses and off to a good start. All right, couple of training things before I introduce Aaron here. I know we have our WAP partners down their Tucson meeting. I'm not sure if anybody went to that down in Tucson, but if you're in the Phoenix area and want to do the Phoenix one down at the Marriott Airport, that is going to be later this week. Still time to register. If you use code IBC, the fee is $50. You get 50% off. You pay $25, and then when you show up, you get a $25 Amazon gift card. So essentially, it is free to you. Trainings, I think these are going to be two of the more important plans this summer. The DSNP, things have changed a little bit. So if you're not exactly sure how DSNP works and the SEP and the way you can use it moving forward, definitely help on that virtual meeting. And then CSNP, if you're selling in Maricopa County, I believe this is the best CSNP plan you can get. It works for both diabetics and people with heart issues. And it's a no-brainer to learn a little bit more about those two United Healthcare products. We are having Humana here today, but as a follow-up meeting, we're going to do in-person sales strategies and also go over some of their new technology. If you haven't noticed, the Humana broker portal has been updated a little bit, so make sure you RSVP, come in. I think Humana is bringing lunch for that too, so grab a free lunch, get to know Aaron and Jaime more intimately. Like I said, I think they're the best local sales reps you have. And they have a lot to offer. Products throughout the state, disaster SCP going your way right now. And if you work with me and you have a good idea, if you want to do some provider marketing, if you have some other ideas, Humana has marketing co-op for agents, so take advantage of that. Following week, we're going to have a dental marketing strategy session in person again at the IBC office Wednesday, May 14th. Don't have any RSVPs for either of these meetings yet. So if you have time, I think they're worth your while. Both Eternal and Humana want to throw some dollars at IBC agents. So please get out of the house, come see me and your carrier reps for these two partners, and hopefully have something to do this summer with some purpose. If you are looking to get out of the house and maybe you need an updated picture, Centerwell and Cigna are offering free headshots this Friday, May 2nd. If you go down to the Centerwell at Riverview and Mesa, you'll be able to update your headshot between 1 and 3 p.m. Make sure that you do call either Denise or Bethany to reserve your spot. I think they want to have an idea on how many people are coming. All right, I know Aaron has a lot to discuss, so I'm going to make him a presenter here. Aaron, super cool dude. If you don't know him very well, hopefully this meeting gets you a little bit more knowledge about what he's all about and what Humana is all about. Also, he'll be at the IBC office next Wednesday, so good opportunity to meet with Jaime and Aaron next week. Aaron, if you hit your microphone button, hopefully I can hear you. Can you test that out? All right. All right. Well, I think we should be able to solve this. some of the carriers have security measures on their computer, so a little bit hard to do these meetings sometimes on when it's not their platform. All right, but good news is I'll have Aaron call me, and we'll just have him on the phone here. Hey.
Okay, Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, we'll just talk like this. So I'm going to start doing your slides, and you can just speak to them. Fair enough?
Yep, that sounds great.
All right.
Okay, well, good morning, team. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Chris, for having me join your guys' Monday call. Really happy to spend some time with the IBC team here. And let's go ahead and jump right on into it, okay? So for our selling season going into OEP rest of year, this is just a Humana refresh touch base. We got some accomplishments that we want to talk about if we want to go to the next slide for our agenda today. We'll touch on some accomplishments. We'll talk about welcome. There's been some changes in the leadership team and the support for all of our partner selling agents here, and discuss some key opportunities when it comes to enrollment periods. A quick highlight on Center Wolf Pharmacy. It's a huge savings for our members as it relates to utilizing the medication benefit on our Medicare Advantage plans. Some tools and resources you may be seeing and noticing in your Vantage, a lot of updates lately. So we're going to dive into that a little bit more at our in-person meeting on May 7th. A quick overview on our Medicare Advantage product portfolio and partner experience. So just looking to get some feedback from you all. Really looking forward to our in-person meeting to gathering some of that feedback as it comes from either your members and how they're experiencing their insurance with Humana, their product, and what that looks like. And then also for all of you as independent business owners, the kind of support and tools that you're receiving, we're always looking for feedback on how we can improve and make these products better. So let's jump out right into our welcome and give you an overview for your support team for Arizona. For our broker relationship team, you guys have a couple different levels of support. Of course, you still have the agent support unit that you can call in for agent support. When you call into agent support, they can help you with various items like looking at providers. They can help you with technology issues. If you're having issues logging into your Vantage, they can open up technology tickets if there's any type of issues that you run into there. For your team here that's local, you have your broker relation managers. That's going to be Jaime and myself. We are in field, in person, doing events, working with you all on different and various activities and trainings. In addition to Jaime and myself, I recently replaced and backfilled the role for Javier Barbosa. And so Javier is now our associate director over what's called our BRE, our broker relationship executives. And so he has a geography and territory. Javier's done great work and now leading this virtual team. He's going to do great work in that specific channel area as well. Ryan Wolford and Pia Jones, you may have received calls from them. So they do everything virtual, and they can do all the same type of stuff that both Jaime and I can do. If you guys are ever having any issues with escalations, any type of problems maybe with like your members, we can help get that escalated up through a very specific team to find a solution. We still have our customer service for our members, of course, and then you all still have the service inquiry tool, which is a phenomenal tool. If you've not had a chance to check it out or utilize it, we definitely encourage folks to do that. We'll touch on that here in a little bit. But our broker relation executives, they can do all the same type of support virtually that both Jaime and I can do in person. So that's going to be your guys' support team here for Arizona. I know there's a lot of folks on the team that I've met before, but definitely looking forward to meeting folks next week, Wednesday. Want to highlight some successes that Humana has had over this last year, both AEP and OEP. And so really phenomenal, the kind of work that we've been doing. Is an interesting year going into AEP with a lot of headwinds, and that was industry-wide, not just Humana. When we look at the performance for Humana year over year, we actually had an increase in total submitted applications between new to Humana and plan to plan at 1.51 million total applications across the country. And we surpassed our previous record of the year prior of 1.49 total submitted applications in 2023 for the 2024 plan year. For us as a market in Arizona specifically, for AEP, we saw an 11% increase. And OEP, we saw a 15% increase year over year in total submitted applications. And then for new to Humana, we saw a 4% increase in AEP and a 17%. So we've had a really strong OEP this year for 2025, year over year in new to Humana total submitted applications. And so just pausing on that real quick, I just want to recognize all of our business partners do all the hard work that you all do. For folks that do not know me, I've been in the industry for 14 years. I've sold myself as a broker. I sold Humana, United, Aetna, Cigna. I even wrote One Bright Health Plan, if you've been in this market for a little while. I'm definitely familiar with all the hard work that everybody goes through in putting all this stuff together when it comes to meeting with your clients face-to-face, meeting with them virtually, doing your certifications every single year. And so our success is your success, and just want to give a big heartfelt thank you for that. Of the total submitted applications, this is pretty neat data here. You all captured over 19,000 emails from those submitted applications during AEP and over 7,000 emails during OEP. Now, the reason why we point that out is just want to encourage folks that as you're doing these enrollments to always capture an email address. It's going to help you with your business when you want to do constant marketing, email drip campaigns. It also helps if you want to send things like monthly newsletters to your members, clients, our members. In those newsletters, we have various types of resources and collateral that you can use from the Marketing Resource Center. There's flyers in there that talk about silver sneakers. There's flyers that talk about true hearing. So a lot of the added benefits where members can get more information, and then you can stay constantly engaged with your members as they start to actually utilize this insurance intangible product and give it more feelings to it. Of the submitted applications, you assigned over 9,000 top performing providers during AEP. So these are our value-based provider groups like Centerwell, Archwell, Oak Street, Village Medical, etc., even Optum. And so really important even if it's a PPO plan, the application doesn't require the selection of a primary care doctor, but we always want to encourage folks to still select a primary care doctor regardless of the Medicare Advantage product type. It's important to get our members into that value-based care model where they help identify different types of needs early, and then also help them stay engaged with their primary care doctor, managing certain types of conditions that require certain type of management, help reduce the inpatient hospital stays or readmittance into the hospitals, and all of that active engagement with their health and well-being helps reduce the cost of the healthcare system, helps reduce the cost on the insurance platforms, and ultimately just helps the industry as a whole. And of course, the members' overall health. And then another item to talk about here is Centerwell pharmacy consent forms. So the reason why we point this out, there was over 8,000 pharmacy RX consents completed and over 4,000 during OEP. And so when you're submitting an application, there's a checkbox that says that it allows Centerwell Pharmacy, which is a subsidiary of Humana, to reach out to that prospective member and talk to them about what mail order pharmacy is and what it can do for them. So it doesn't actually sign them up for mail order pharmacy. It just gives Centerwell Pharmacy the permission to be able to do so. Now, the reason why that's important is even though Centerwell Mail Order Pharmacy is a subsidiary of Humana, they do not have the permission or allowed to just make phone calls to Humana members. They have to have the permission on there. And that permission is only valid for 1 year. And if you're doing a plan change with a Humana member, it's still very important to capture that RX consent checkbox there. And then lastly, we launched our first CSNP plan here in Maricopa County. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But with the CSNP plan, this is a chronic condition plan for cardiovascular disease, chronic heart failure, diabetes. This plan is what is referred to as a Medicare lookalike plan. So the health portion of this plan, the out-of-pocket medical costs, is the same as original Medicare. So really this plan would only make sense for somebody who would be dual eligible, Medicare, Medicaid, because Medicaid would cover the out-of-pocket costs as is associated with their health plan. When you compare the extra benefits like the dental, the vision, the hearing, the healthy food card where they can use that to pay bills, electricity, rides, etc. We are on par with all of the other decent plans here in the Maricopa County market. And so if you haven't had a chance to take a look at this plan, we'd definitely like to encourage folks to be able to take a look at it. The cool thing about a CSNP plan is that there is a year-round selling opportunity as there's an enrollment period that's specifically tied to that. The last demographics that talked about this for cardiovascular disease, about 60% of the Medicare population has some form of cardiovascular disease. So definitely a topic of conversation with your members, your clients, on if this plan could be a fit for them as long as they're dual eligible. A lot of great accomplishments there. On the next slide, it's going to talk about our customer service and our commitment to that. For rankings, we have had for 4 years in a row with Forrester's, Humana has been ranked #1 among health insurance in these categories for customer experience, clear communication, customer service, transparency rates, and fees and prices. This is something that we're really proud of. It's something we continue to strive for. For me personally, I know what it's like working through a different type of customer service, whether if it's your cell phone company, your insurance company, and like auto insurance, and if it's your cable company. So like customer service can always be a challenge regardless of the industry that you're in. So we're just really proud of the efforts that we've done to continue to make this intangible insurance product and create more of a positive green glove experience for our members. So moving on to our next slide here, really proud of some of those accomplishments. Hope everybody on the line here is also proud of the accomplishments that we continue to do. One item as we jump into like some key selling periods and some reminders, Humana has a really awesome job aid. It's an enrollment period, election period job aid. And so this lists all the different type of enrollment periods, not just your initial enrollment period when you very first turn 65 or AEP, but a whole list of different other types of special enrollment periods where it identifies what that enrollment period is like, how you're able to use that on the application. So that way you can identify enrollment opportunities during the rest of the year. We'll be sure to get that over. There's going to be a recap email that Chris will send out to you all with some other type of tools and resources that we've touched on today's call. Another item to call out here for election periods is the SEP disaster enrollment period. And so here in Maricopa County, there is a active SEP disaster code that's allowed to be used. There are some qualifying criterias like the prospective Medicare beneficiary, as long as they didn't make a change in their Medicare Advantage plan during AEP or OEP, they would be able to use this enrollment period. That sends out an email from sales compliance that lists and breaks that out. But that's also going to be sent to y'all so that way you guys can touch on that. So definitely take advantage of those enrollment periods. They are listed in your Vantage on the bottom left. You can kind of scroll down and click on that whenever you're trying to identify those. Moving into Centerville Pharmacy, we want to touch on this because it's a huge cost savings for our members, but it's really important when you're looking at Centerville Pharmacy, when you're sitting down with your client and you're using various RX quoting tools to price out medications. Would really want to encourage folks to go to Humana.com or go to your Vantage and use Humana's RX Pharmacy Calculator. The reason why that is there's a cost savings involved for members when they're using Humana's mail order pharmacy that we'll touch on, that the other RX quoting tools, like on Medicare.gov, for example, they would not highlight this because this isn't a embedded benefit. They would have to utilize Centerville mail order pharmacy in order to get these types of cost savings. And so we'll talk about what those are and why that's important. On the next slide here, some of the items that's really helpful for Centerville Pharmacy, low-cost generic medications, which is pretty common information. We have a $0 copay on your tier 1, tier 2 generic medications on a 90-day supply. For our members that receive low-income subsidy extra help, even though they do receive that extra help, there is still a low copay that's associated with that. Members can call into Centerville Pharmacy and actually request to be able to have that LIS copay waived. That way there's no cost for them to be able to receive those medications. And then for specialty medications, there's also financial assistance as well. There's a fund that's set aside every year for these specialty medications. And so depending on the member scenario situation, they can call in and see if they qualify for that as well. On our next slide here, when it comes to the overall experience for the member, it's important because mail order pharmacy can sometimes be, if someone's not done it before, they can be kind of nervous about it. One of the ways that we go about making this a lot simpler is we provide a 100-day supply of medications because during that 90-day time period, that 100-day supply doesn't always, or a 90-day supply wouldn't always fit the amount of days. And then also for medications, if the member is spending over $90 a month on their medications, that can get pretty expensive if you're taking brand drugs. And if you're paying for that 90-day supply in front, all 3 months, and you have 3, 4, 5 brand medications, that out-of-pocket cost can become kind of daunting, especially if you're living on a fixed income. So Centerville Pharmacy will actually break apart that total cost over the 3 months. This way they can manage that monthly cost a lot easier. So one of the items on the next page here talks about some of the benefits with using mail order pharmacy. Not only do they get that $0 copay for that 90-day supply, but again, this is another really big help, is on your tier 3, tier 4 brand medications, you would be paying a 2-month supply for your 3-month, or you'd be paying for a copay for 2 months for your 3-month 90-day supply of medications. And when you look at the cost savings, it can actually be pretty significant, especially if you're taking 2, 3, or 4 brand medications. As you can see, depending on the plan, which the majority of the plans have this on it, there'd be a big cost savings by taking advantage of that mail order pharmacy. So we just wanted to touch on a few of those items there. Just want to encourage folks to continue to check that RX consent when you are submitting applications. Really simple for the member. When they call in, it's just the one conversation, or when Centerville calls them, it's the one conversation, and they will reach out to the primary care doctor. They'll get the scripts on file. And so they'll do all the work with them. It's just that first initial conversation.
Andrea has a comment that she says her clients sometimes complain about how much Centerville calls people. Is that just because they have a task at hand that's not getting done, or are they just known to be out there calling a little bit too much?
Good question. Depending on the scenario, and so not really sure specifically, Andrea, but we can definitely look at that one offline, and I'd be happy to figure out.
Yeah, the one good thing about Humana, guys, is they actually listen to you. I know Jaime, I've given him a couple of customer issues, and he gets back to them and kind of manages it himself. I know a lot of other carriers like United, Aetna, Cigna, they go off to a national department, and a lot of times you get shrugged shoulders from your broker reps who say they can't help you. It is what it is. Humana is a little more hands-on in that regard as well, which is nice.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. We have a escalations team that work directly with Jaime and I, and both Ryan and Pia. And so any one of us can get those kind of escalations moved on. Specifically for this member, if they're getting a lot of phone calls and they don't want to receive them, they can be asked to be placed in the do not call list. And then Centerville would have to oblige and act accordingly. Awesome. So tools, a lot of really great tools in Vantage. If you haven't had time to spend time in there, really want to encourage you to do so. We still have our Market Point University, where you do your certifications every year. Quite a few years back, Humana changed their stance on certifications. We really streamlined it, made it a lot simpler. We know you all have to take AHIP or an equivalent of AHIP, and then you have to jump through all the other carriers' certification courses as well. I've been there myself, so we're really proud that we made that change and streamlined it, and we're continuing to keep that as a simple, streamlined process as possible. Comparatively, in the marketplace with other carriers, I feel like we've done really, really well in this area, and so that continues to be a really strong point for us. Our Ignite site has other trainings as well, so not only in Market Point University do you do certification courses, but there's other courses in there as well. Ignite has some self-service trainings, and so you can watch videos, you can go through different type of informative trainings on individual dental and vision, different quoting enrollment tools, how to be able to utilize MRC, how to be able to utilize your My Humana Business Center. And so definitely encourage folks to go on there. We're actually going to be making a change. This is what we're going to be talking about at our May 7th meeting. We have a new platform. It's going to be called Agent Advantage. And when Agent Advantage comes into play, we're actually combining all of our training materials into one central hub area. And so that's what Agent Advantage is going to be replacing Market Point University and the Ignite site. This way you guys aren't having to jump around to different places to try to find learning material and learning content. The Marketing Resource Center is also being replaced, and we're going to talk about this on our meeting at May 7th. with the Marketing Resource Center, a lot of great collateral in there. Not only are you able to version your own flyers and trifolds and different types of things with your name, your phone number, your contact information, but there's a whole host of other items in there, like programs in a box that give you PowerPoint presentations with information. This way you can take those to any type of like community partner that you might have, where you're talking to seniors on various topics like Tech 101, healthy eating, healthy sleep. So there's a lot of really great material there that you can be able to utilize. And then the Marketing Resource Center also does the mailings for you as well. So if you want to be able to like engage your existing book of business and quickly upload your book to the MRC and have a mailing done for like birthday cards every month, or if you want to send out other type of material, it's a really great place to start. So we'll dive into that a little bit more. And we'll talk about the new agent marketing hub, that Arizona is actually a test pilot state. It is available in your Vantage now. And so if you haven't got a chance to see that, it's going to be on the left-hand side as you're scrolling down through the different tiles there. And so agent marketing hub, would love for folks to be able to jump in there, take a peek at it before we meet on that May 7th in person that we're going to be doing. Service inquiries is another awesome tool. If you haven't had a chance to take advantage of it, again, want to encourage folks on this. In service inquiries, you can do a whole host of things like correct application errors if you submit an application and it gets pended for various reasons, wrong election period, date of birth doesn't match, Medicare ID number might not match. And so when you are able to update that and get that fixed without having to like rewrite things and go all different places, that's like really super helpful. Demographic and provider changes, you can change the primary care doctor on your beneficiary's behalf, which is another really cool tool that you can do. Claims, billing questions, other benefit support. When this goes to this Vantage Inquiry team, they'll reach out to the member, they'll actually call the member and either solve whatever situation that they're having or provide an explanation. That way there's more stronger, clearer understanding. This is what the service inquiry tool looks like. The cool thing is here on your My Humana Business Center is you can actually launch the service inquiry off of your book of business. So you can click on your specific member and this way it just transfers all their data over. That way you're not typing it. And another cool item on here, and these are some updates that you all have been sharing with us, is you're able to see the interactions when you click on your member. And on the left-hand side, you can see if the member called into customer service recently, if something was mailed out to your member. So any type of correspondence or engagement that the member has had with Humana, you're able to see that here. It doesn't specifically list like PHI information, but you're able to see what type of engagement the member's been having with Humana. In addition to that, on your book of business, you can see your application statuses. And so I'm going to talk about that if you're not currently receiving an email on your status of your submitted applications. But from your business center, you can launch service inquiries, get your consumer insights like we just talked about, and then you can also check the statuses of your submitted applications. Enrollment status notifications, been talking with a lot of folks and noticing, we just asked the question, are you getting updated whenever you submit an application, once it's been submitted, once it's been approved and created by Medicare, and once it's complete? And a lot of folks are saying no. So on your Vantage in the top right, you have a profile icon. So you have like a circle bubble. If you've not done this yet, it's automatically defaulted turned to off. So if you never got a chance to turn it on before, when you log into Vantage, click on your profile, scroll down to preferences. It's about halfway down on the right. When you hit the drop down on preferences, you're going to turn on your notification status button, turn it to on, and then you can select the different ways that you want to be notified. And so this is really helpful during AEP when the volume is a lot higher. And you can receive those notifications daily, weekly, monthly. You can receive them as a batch with all of submitted applications, or you can have them sent to you by the ones for every single one that comes through. So if you haven't had a chance to turn that on, definitely jump in that top right profile section of your Vantage to be able to turn that on. And then lastly, we have case reporting. So this is really cool. Humana senior leaders originally wanted to know, why are our members calling into customer service? What is it that they're calling into customer service for? And so this case report was created to identify members are calling in because they have questions about their dental and vision, or they have questions about their over-the-counter catalog, or questions about benefits. And so this information was then provided to MarketPoint, which is the member growth sales channel for Humana, and provided to all those leaders saying, hey, how can we try to improve this? How can we try to leverage this data and this information? And so then it's like, well, you know what? Like, if we already have the information, let's just put this right in all of our partner selling agents' hands. That way they can see their own book of business as they're the agent of record. So you have this 120-day rolling window that lists out this report on your members and what they're calling in for. So definitely want to encourage us to check that out as well. We'll touch on these a little bit deeper in person, but a couple quick highlight items there for Vantage. Moving into products, we'll touch on these briefly. You guys are all familiar with Humana's product portfolio. We're familiar with Medicare Advantage. Medigap supplement plans, not sure the last time you may have quoted a Humana Medigap supplement plan. We're top 3 when it comes to pricing on the plans. The pricing doesn't always reflect in other quoting tools. And so just want to encourage folks to make sure that you do that, because there's a discounted rate for the first 7 years on these Medigap supplement plans. So more information will be shared, and we'll talk about this a bit in further detail. But the other cool thing about our Medigap supplement plans is the pricing is based on the Part B effective date, not when they actually turn 65. And so just wanted to point out that as a potential savings and selling opportunity for you all. When there's a lot of folks still out there that are on employer group health coverage, they're still working, and they've delayed or postponed their Part B. And so this would be a great opportunity for somebody to get a really great rate on a Medigap supplement plan, especially in light of this recent last year, where we see some rates going up pretty dramatically. For us here at Humana, we had a 12% increase on our Medigap supplement rates. And so really proud of that, just comparatively, like in the industry, where we line up on that. Of course,
when do those rate? Are you guys on a calendar year rate program, or when does that go up for Humana?
Good question, Chris. I don't have that off top of mind, but I'll be sure to get an answer and bring that to our May 7th meeting.
And then also, just to hammer home, you're saying if somebody's retiring from work at 68, they turn on their Part B, and they're going to get the 65-year-old rate at 68 because they just turned on their Part B?
Yes, that's correct.
And then the discounts will continue as if they were 65 for the next 7 years or whatever it is?
That is correct.
Okay, yeah, that is good to know. I don't think CSG would quote that properly, so that's good to make note of, guys. If you sell supplements, all the supplement companies have their own selling points. That seems to be a good one, but hard to remember and hard to quote on CSG. So hopefully, make a mental note of that.
For sure. And of course, with all of our standalone Part D prescription drugs and individual dental and vision. Talking about other items as it relates to our Medicare Advantage products, we're really proud of this, and it's our network. This is something that has stood out for us. We have our travel benefit on our HMO plan here for the Arizona market, which is really awesome. Basically, it's pretty simple. Members don't have to do anything other than validate or verify that it's an in-network provider, and they have the entire country to be able to select from. And so when they're looking for that, they can call in customer service. They can look up for in-network providers. They can also do it online on humana.com. When they hit the drop-down box, you have 2 HMO/S&P travel networks. You have one that says home, and then one that says travel. And so when you click on the travel one, you're looking at providers all across the country. When you click on the home one, you're looking at providers here for Arizona. Arizona has a lot of folks that spend a significant amount of time in other states throughout the year. And so this has been a really cool benefit that we added to our plans. No additional steps are needed. No need to call into customer service and activate anything. The benefit's already part of their plan. So it's another item that we continue to get a lot of good feedback.
If you mention this to your clients, guys, it's a huge selling point. People want a national network, even if they don't travel a lot. It really moves the needle. The only other company that really has the freedom like this is the Aetna Platinum Network. But Aetna Platinum, you can't go to California and use it. United has a national network, but you have to remember to call them and turn it on when you leave leave the state. So Humana is really the easiest one to use. And so a huge selling point there. If you're wondering why I'm so high on Humana, that's one of the main reasons. I know when I bring it up to my clients, it really moves the needle. So something to think about.
And speaking of network, for our market in particular in Arizona, we continue to have one of, if not the largest network of providers.
Yeah,
we recently.
No, sorry to interrupt, but that's true. If you want, if you're starting with Advantage plans, especially now that supplement pricing is going crazy. I'm getting calls every single day from my AARP members saying this is ridiculous. A lot of people are going to start looking to Advantage. What do they want from Advantage? Probably going to need a PPO, but PPOs don't have the great benefits anymore. So, having an HMO with a national network, great benefits, no prescription deductible. Kind of a no-brainer. You can write it using Disaster SCP through the end of June. So if you get those supplement customers that are pissed off and don't want to take this second high AARP rate increase in a row, something to really think about. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you. And so as an example, we have all of the major value-based provider groups: One Medical, Centerwell, Optum, Archwell, and actually, we haven't announced this yet, or I believe an announcement just recently came out. We also have Evernorth that's going to be a network with us as well. And so having all these different senior-focused primary care groups are really important for our membership, great for the network. Another item to make note of, like Banner, for example, they're the largest hospital system, primary care and specialty in Arizona. And so we just re-signed our contract with them right in the middle, near the end of AEP. We also recently finished signing our Tenet contract. So Tenet is the national parent company of Abrazo Health and Condolet, which is down at Tucson. And so we just recently re-signed with them for another 5-year contract. And so the thing to kind of point out here is we see like what networks are like, and a lot of work goes into building out these contracts, having that kind of partnership with all these provider groups. It's quite a bit to be able to create, build, and manage a network of this size. And that's, while Humana may not always be the lowest copay plan, we're always definitely in the top 3, top 4. So we always want to be considered as a part of that conversation. But what's really important to us is the quality of care that our members are receiving, the experience that our members are receiving, the kind of engagement that Humana provides to help our members have good health and well-being. The next slide also touches on the Tucson network. And so all of your major partners down there, like TMC, P3, OEO, ACP, of course, all of those folks are in network with us as well. Touching on our plans, we have our leading plan. And so this last year for HMO, this was, again, going into this AEP and last year going through the bid season, we wanted to try to impact our membership population in the most positive way that we can, while we still had to make some degradation, some changes in the benefits, but we still wanted to keep the plan strong and stable. And so hopefully we were able to do that. And we wanted to keep the plan to where it wasn't going to impact the hard work that you will have to do, like having to go through plan changes. And so for our HMO 074 plan, this was previously the HMO 052 Gold Plus. And what we did is we split this plan in half. We offered it in Maricopa County. And so that's the 001. And then we also offered it in Tucson, which is the 074-002 contract code. And if we could just go back to the 001 real quick, Chris. And so on our plan here, what we wanted to do was, by segmenting it, we were able to crosswalk the membership, which means it didn't require anybody having to rewrite their book of business to be able to keep them on that plan. Still a very competitive plan, $0 primary care copay. Specialists did go up slightly to $25. Even though it did go up, there is a Part B give back of $5 a month on the plan to help offset that. The medical max out of pocket was $2,900. And the other item that really stands out here is no deductible on the RX medications. And so copays are kicking in right from the start. Again, that's an item that's really important for members. And so that's an area that we felt like was really important for our members. while we did have to make some changes with like the over-the-counter, not having the retail card and it needed to move to catalog, some changes needed to be made. And so we thought, what was the best thing to keep in order to be able to satisfy the population with this specific product and plan. And then also when you're looking at like urgent care at a $35 copay, emergency room at $140, still very, very, very low copays compared to like other plans here in this market. Dental is still $2,000 first dollar coverage. And so we're able to keep the dental strong on that plan as well. Just some slight changes on the Tucson plan, but very similar. We decided to keep the deductible off the medications. And then moving into some of the other surrounding areas, we have so now we have our HMO C-SNP plan. This is offered in Maricopa County, and touched on this a little bit at the beginning of our conversation, but Medicare lookalike plan, you see the out-of-pocket cost. This is why they need to be dual eligible Medicare, Medicaid, but $3,000 in dental and $500 for vision and a monthly rollover healthy options card of $160. And so that would be the equivalent of like a D-SNP U card. And so they can use that for groceries and other types of things to help with social determinants of health.
Now,
so really
if I understand correctly, there's no D-SNP SEP unless you're putting them on a aligned plan at this point, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So not really a lot of opportunity here unless they're new D-SNP members, or otherwise you're going to have to wait till AEP, guys.
Yep. Good call out. Thank you, Chris. With D-SNP, with the C-SNP plan, there is a specific network to be able to utilize. It fits almost our entire HMO footprint. So they can still see providers even like outside of Maricopa County, for example, for specialties. But that's where you would look up the network to be able to see those providers. And then the next slide here talks about completing a verification of chronic condition form. So once the member does enroll in the plan, they're going to get mailed this form for their primary care doctor. Their doctor's going to receive this form. Really simple. So they have 60 days to validate and verify that they have a chronic condition. The doctor's office can mail in this form. They can fax it in. They can email it. But what's also really simple, they can simply call the phone number and just do an attestation that the member has said chronic condition that would qualify them for that plan. Right. So pretty cool little item there. Touching on our PPO plan, we'll just touch on one PPO plan here. It saw significant growth here for the Tri-County area, Maricopa, Pima, Pinal. This is our $86 give back plan, Humana Choice PPO, which contract code ends in 371. Obviously, if you have somebody that's a high utilizer, this may not be the right plan for them. We look at the HMO. But for folks that still want to have good coverage and receive that $86 give back, 0 primary care, $35 for your specialists. You still have dental and vision on the plan as well, and pretty low copays. And then with your RX medications having no deductible, those kick in right from the start. This plan got a lot of attention. This is actually our highest selling PPO plan. So if you haven't had a chance to kind of dive into this plan, want to encourage folks to do that. We'll touch on this more at our in-person meeting, but just quickly highlighting it here. And then lastly, as we talk about plans, we're not going over the plan benefits, but this is something that we continue to be very proud of. Humana was the first carrier to design a plan specifically for the veteran in mind. Of course, you don't have to be a veteran to be on an MA-only plan. We are endorsed by USAA, which is something that we're very proud of and recommended by them. So that continues to be a partnership for us. But not only does Humana do these things, it's one thing just to have a plan and say it's a veteran plan, but it's another thing just to see like all the initiatives. So Humana is the national sponsor exclusive for the VFW. We're also national sponsor for the DAV. Humana also has the TRICARE contract to manage our healthcare services for our retired veterans as well. And so having all of those other accolades are like super important. It's not just having a product for a veteran, it's some of those other added items. In addition to that, we have a Humana Veteran Service Team. And so these folks are specifically trained on how TRICARE works, of course, how their Medicare Advantage plans work. Just a quick call out here, when you're submitting an application, always check for veteran status. Make sure to check that veteran box. Once Humana has that on file, when a member calls in, they're automatically routed to this team. And so that way they can get more specialized, specific focus on how to utilize the most out of their VA benefits and how to get the most out of their Medicare plan as well. Another item that we did here this last year, or actually about 2 AEPs ago, we put on all of our member ID cards, all of our veteran member ID cards, Face the Fight, Veteran Suicide Prevention Hotline. And so another important item, we want to provide resources and support in any and all areas that we can, especially when it comes to our veteran population. And so lastly, rounding out with products, dental, med sup, vision, prescription drug plans. We already talked about med sup in detail. Individual dental and vision is another great product and plan as well. On the next slide kind of gives you a breakout. We'll include this in the recap email as well. That way you can get the actual benefit grids. But the Humana Extend plan has a $1,250, $2,500, $5,000 benefit. And with those benefits, that covers your dental, vision, and hearing. It also covers implants. And so sometimes we get a question with folks that might want more dental. On the HMO plan, for example, there's $2,000 worth of dental there. You can also get this individual dental plan, use up your Medicare dental, and then use up this individual Humana Extend 5,000.
So does this Extend plan work like a Medicare Advantage plan where you just get the money till it goes away?
It does not. This plan works as a traditional individual dental plan. So there could be waiting periods on services depending on which plan. If you've had previous dental coverage, like maybe through an employer, and you had regular dental insurance, then a lot of those waiting periods would be waived.
How about if you've had an Advantage plan?
The Advantage is not considered traditional insurance, then it would not be recognized. But that is a good question. We get that quite a bit.
Okay.
Really great benefits though. It is a co-insurance type plan. So just depending on which plan it is, we'll get you the benefit grids. That way you guys can kind of dive through these. But it just gives you another product to be able to offer your clients. The more products you can offer your clients between Medicare Advantage, hospital indemnity plans, dental plans, and then these dental plans are for all ages. They do pay a commission. It just gives you guys another product to utilize. And lastly, we got some new things coming with Agent Advantage University and also the Agent Marketing Hub. So we'll talk about that more at our in-person meeting. But those were all of the updates. You still have your local support team. You still have agent support. We're here to support you. I know that was a lot of information. I went through it really quick. Just wanted to respect y'all's time. Really happy to get everybody here on a Monday morning and just be able to get in front of everyone and just do like a quick little Humana refresh.
No, I appreciate you, Aaron. And, one of my goals this year is to give you guys more selling opportunities. So, throughout the summer, and you've already seen through some of the spring, bringing carriers in, bringing you out to provider groups. If you are not as busy as you want to be, please take advantage of these in-person trainings and hopefully utilize some of the resources and marketing dollars available to you if you have a good game plan. So I would strongly suggest, if you are not on vacation in the month of May, to come and RSVP for next Wednesday, not this Wednesday, the following Wednesday with Humana, and the Wednesday after that with Eternal. I think we're going to have some good game plans for you to get out into the field and keep on selling this lock-in period. All right, Aaron, thanks so much for your time. We'll see you in a week and a half, all right?
Sounds great. Thank you, Chris. Right. Thank you, team.
All right, guys, just to finish up here, I just want to mention one more time, did get a lot of emails and messages about being sold to Integrity. Just want to make sure that you all know that I was not sold. I did not sell IBC to Integrity. I did sign a partner office agreement. I don't want to bore you with the details, but it's not a sale. It just aligns more products with us, allows me to do more marketing with WAP and Integrity dollars, and gives us special resources as they get announced for technology and other scenarios. So something I signed almost 2 years ago, so nothing new. They just announced it. They're trying to buy up the world and partner with the world, so they seem to make a partner announcement every week, but they have a lot of partners. That's why it took 2 years. And like I said, I was already aligning most of my contracts with them. So a little bit of upside for us as a team, as me as a business owner, just to do that partner office agreement, but nothing's changed as far as our relationship. I'm not going anywhere. Disaster SCPs, again, I'm bringing this up a couple of times here just because, every week I'm getting people asking me about what they can do. So I just really want to make sure you're clear on this. Without really any proof, you can submit a United Healthcare and Humana application using the disaster SCP. That's going to be valid through the end of June. So 2 more months. Not all carriers are accepting this, but you can use it in Maricopa and Pinal. For those of you in Pima and rural counties, I'm sorry, there's nothing valid right now. Aetna did announce that they're joining the party. However, Marlena, like I said last week, told me they might be looking for a little bit of proof. I'm not sure what that entails. So the easier two carriers would be Humana and United. Again, if you're getting your customers frustrated with their supplement rate increases through Blue Cross and United Healthcare AARP right now, this might be something that people are going to be willing to do because they can't absorb another double-digit rate increase. This is something I mentioned last week. If you're selling ACA, I want you to be intimate with some of the changes that are definitely coming for 2026. I'll update you if they come a little bit earlier, but the Republicans do not like how little oversight there's been for enrollment, that being for people enrolling outside of open enrollment period, that also for just putting in any income. Usually you do have to provide proof for certain things, and during the Biden administration's term, they've kind of took those all off the platform. But so expect as we get into 2025, near the end of the year, there's going to be more requirements for using SCPs, proving income. And there's also been, if you've been paying attention to any news, a ton of fraud with the ACA. There's whole call centers just enrolling people fraudulently. It's become quite a problem. The government's trying to combat that. So if you are taking over a application from another broker, they won't make you a broker of record unless you call into the marketplace. If you're unclear on any of this stuff, just give me a call. I'll put together an ACA training program for some of these new updates once we see that they're going into effect. Also, if you're not being careful about your procedures, getting your consent form signed, I would start doing that in the ACA platform. And no one really polices it too hard, but if they do come down on compliance a little bit, we want to make sure our ducks are in a row. That being said, you know who to contact when you need to contact them. Finishing here just under an hour, so a little bit longer today. Thank you for all your attention as we come to a close here. If you have any questions, give me a call, and hope to see you next Wednesday in person for a free lunch and learn more about Humana. Talk to you soon.